dynamics. Okay, so here there is a device. This may be any. We are going to look at steady flow energy equation again, and we will discuss again the applications of steady flow energy equations, and we will get to the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, so here there is a device. This may be any device, a boiler or nozzle, steam turbine, an IC engine, anything. So here the fluid is entering into the system in this direction and is getting out of the system in direction. So generally, if you talk about the energies that may be with the fluid are mainly internal energy. This is based on temperature. Okay, and then potential energy. This is due to height of the system. This is due to potential energy. And again kinetic energy, this is due to velocity of the energy, velocity of the fluid. And also pressure energy is also there. If there is more pressure, it will have higher energy. If it is having less pressure, so these four terms will be included as the energies at the inlet and also at the outlet. Meanwhile, while it is coming here to here, it is interacting with the surroundings. Anything external to the system is all surroundings. Okay, so here heat is getting into the system because it is positive. We are assuming like this: heat is getting into the system and work is getting out of the system. These two are positive in nature. By this, we'll try to derive the steady flow energy equation of the system. So now we'll write the different terms involved in this. Okay, first, internal energy is due to temperature, which is internal energy. This is specific internal energy. That means we will include mass afterwards. Potential energy is mgz. At the inlet it will be z1. This is m into u1. This is specific internal energy. That is why we are multiplying with mass, m into g h. H here is z. Kinetic energy is m v1 square by 2. And due to pressure energy, we will take like pressure energy is nothing but flow energy. So the term for flow energy is P into V. We are taking specific volume P1 V1. So mass into P1 into V1. If M into V is full volume. Okay. So by adding these four terms, we are getting the internal energy at the inlet and the same will be added at the exit. Now we will write what are the terms involved. So at the inlet, m into u1 plus mgz1 plus m into v1 square by 2 plus m into p1 v1. So here at the inlet, here heat is also entering into the system. We will write it q. So energies at inlet. These are the terms involved. If you take m common, it will be u1 plus z1 plus v1 square by 2 plus p1 v1 plus q. So here u1 plus p1 v1, that can be written as h1. So m into h1 plus z1 plus v1 square by 2 plus q. Okay, so this is the energies at the inlet. Similarly, if you write for energies at outlet, you will get an expression similar to this. So that will be m into h2 plus z2 plus v2 square by 2. So the energy which is coming out of the system is work energy. So we will write W. Okay. So by equating these two, we will get m into h1 plus z1 plus v1 square by 2 plus q is equal to m into z2 plus v2 square by 2 plus W. This is known as steady flow energy equation. We have discussed in the earlier class. Just I am clearing any doubts if you have. Okay. So now we will try to apply this steady flow energy equation to different components we will go through in this thermal engineering. Okay. So first we will talk about boiler. Okay. So first we will write the equation H1 plus Q equal to m dot into, so m dot we should write because here it is a steady flow system. That means fluid is always flowing through the system. That is why we should write m dot. Okay. Now we will see what are the terms that will cancel out. So here Q is there, so Q will be there. Water is entering into the boiler and exiting steam is coming out of the system. So here there is no kinetic head because it is coming slowly and going out slowly. So this will be 0. V1 and V2 will be 0. Okay. Similarly, there is no much Z difference. That is why this is also cancelled out. And also boiler, the purpose of boiler is to convert water into steam and not to produce any work. So there is no work also. This is also 0. Finally, you will get m dot into H1 plus Q is equal to m dot into H2. So Q is equal to m dot into H2 minus H1. This is the expression for the amount of energy added to the steam through the heat added to the system. Okay. So this expression helps in finding out the heat consumed by the boiler or to find out the enthalpy at the exit of the boiler. Okay, this is one application of steady flow energy equation. You have to write this equation for every component and you should remove whatever the terms which are not involved. Okay. Now we will go to nozzle. So nozzle is a little bit complicated. So nozzle is a device which, so here what it will do is it will convert pressure energy, here internal energy also, into kinetic energy. Okay. So kinetic energy is used to drive a turbine. So we will generally nozzle is insulated, so there won't be any heat transfer coming in or out of the system, and also there will not be any work also. Its main function is to convert pressure energy into kinetic energy. Okay. Now, okay, again write the equation which is m dot into h1 plus z1 plus v1 square by 2 plus q is equal to plus W. So here no heat, no work, only here also Z1 is equal to Z2 because they are at the same level, Z1 and Z2 will also be cancelled out. So here kinetic energy is important because the purpose is to convert it into kinetic energy. So m dot into h1 plus v1 square by 2 is equal to h2 plus v2 square by 2 into m dot. There is no q, no w. So m dot also cancels out. So finally we will get v2 square by 2 minus v1 square by 2 is equal to h1 minus h2. That means here this enthalpy change is getting converted into kinetic energy, increase in kinetic energy. In some cases we may neglect v1 because at the inlet of the nozzle here the velocity will be less. In some cases we may neglect, in some cases we have to consider it. So further simplifying, v2 square is equal to h1 minus h2 2 into plus v1 square. So v2 is equal to square root of 2 into h1 minus h2 plus v1 square. And one more thing you have to remember is you have to submit h1 in joules per kg here. So, but in general enthalpy will always be measured in kilojoule per kg. If it is in kilojoule per kg, here you have to write 2000 because you have to first convert that kilojoule per kg into joule per kg and then you have to calculate the velocity. Okay, here it is simple. So say you have submitted in kilojoule per kg here say here you have submitted in kilojoule per kg. What happens is, so joule is Newton meter per kg. Okay, so 1 Newton, that is 1 force, is kg meter per second square into meter by kg. So kilo is already there. So kg cancels out and k into meter square per second. So square root of this is meter per second, which is velocity of the steam. So here the k is left out. That is why that has to be put it at like this 2000 if it is in kilojoule per kg. If it is in joule per kg, it is okay. This formula is correct. But generally enthalpy will always be in kilojoule per kg. Then you have to consider this 2000. So in some cases it can also be written as some 44.7 square root of h1 minus h2 plus v1 square. If v1 is neglected, it will becomes 44.7 square root of h1 minus h2. This is the formula for velocity of the steam at the exit of the nozzle. Okay, there is a chance that you may get a problem using this. I suggest that you don't remember this formula. Always remember steady flow energy equation and apply for that particular application. It is very easy. Just you have to know which terms will be cancelling out and which terms remain. Next we will go to a turbine. Here also it is at same level, so Z1 is equal to Z2, and also kinetic energy at the inlet and exit are neglected. Only H term will be there in steady flow energy equation. Plus V1 square by 2 plus Z1 plus Q. So turbine is also generally insulated, so there is no chance of heat transfer getting into the system or out of the system. So this is neglected, this cancels out, this is also neglected. So finally you will get m dot into h1 is equal to m dot into h2 plus w. The sole purpose of turbine is to produce work from heat of the steam. So finally W is equal to m dot into H1 minus H2. This is the formula for turbine work. We are discussing about only steam turbine, steam condenser, steam nozzle, and also boiler is also steam boiler. Okay. Next we will go with condenser. The purpose of condenser is to, as the name indicates, condense. Condense means steam is getting converted to water. Okay. So here whenever the steam condenses, it is called as steam condensate. Condensate means it is water only, but the term refers to it is just now condensed from steam to water. Okay, here in a condenser, a cooling water is used to cool the steam. So here steam comes into the system in this direction. Whenever it touches the cooling water or cooling coil, it will produce water particles, and these water particles are connected at the bottom of the condenser, which is called as condensate. Okay. Here also there is no kinetic head, kinetic energy, potential energy. Only there is also no work. Only heat is getting out of the system. So here it is getting out of the system means negative. So m dot into H1 minus Q is equal to m dot into H2. So Q is equal to m dot into H1 minus H2. You have to remember this negative sign. Why it is? Because heat is getting out of the system. Okay. So Q is equal to m dot into H1 minus H2. This is the expression to calculate the amount of heat rejected from a condenser. So next you will go to compressor. So the main, this is a air compressor. Okay. The main purpose of air compressor is to take atmospheric air in. So whatever the air it is in atmosphere, it sucks through the suction valve and then compresses it, and this is delivery valve, and delivers to the delivery valve. Generally there will be a tank where this compressed air is collected. Receiver is a non-return. So whatever the air comes in this direction will not go in reverse direction. That is the purpose of the receiver. So here what happens is some heat may be rejected because generally air compressor is fitted with fins which enhances the heat transfer. Okay, and work will be supplied by a electric motor. Generally motor will be there to run this piston and cylinder. Okay, so heat is getting out of the system and also work is getting into the system. Both will be negative here because generally work should come out of the system and heat should go into the system. It is in reverse direction, that is why both are negative. And also there is no chance of potential head and kinetic head, only enthalpy will be there. So m dot into H1. So here Q is negative. So minus Q is equal to m dot into H2 minus W. So W is equal to m dot into H2 minus H1 plus Q plus Q. This is the expression for to calculate the work required by the compressor. Okay, these are all steady flow energy equation applications. Most probably there will be a question from this or NFE, non-flow energy equation, and this are also cyclic. First law applied to cyclic process. That means cyclic integral of Q is equal to cyclic integral of W. There is a chance for this. or steady flow energy equation and non-flow energy equation. Out of these three, one question will come for 10 marks and also one short answer question will also be there on same topics. This is first law applied to cycle. Okay, these formulas are very important for exam. Okay, next we will go to second law of thermodynamics. So here second law basically consists of two statements. One is Kelvin's Planck statement and another is Clausius statement. Before going to the statements, we should understand about some terms like reservoir, source, sink. Okay, so reservoir is a heat is a space of infinite heat capacity. What does it means? We'll see. Infinite heat capacity means, say there is a reservoir. Okay, so if you take out some heat, say 150 kilojoules, even if you take out some heat, this temperature will not change. Okay, this temperature will not change. Like say suppose there is a sun. Sun always emits energy to earth and to the universe. So here, even though there is lots and lots amount of solar energy coming out of the sun, even then the sun temperature never reduces. Okay, similarly here also a reservoir is a space of infinite heat capacity. That means this temperature will not change even though heat is getting out of the system or heat is getting into the system. Okay, this can be also related to a, say there is a sea. So if you take a bucket of water out of the system, will it make any difference to the sea? There won't be any difference to the sea. And also if you pour one bucket of water into the sea, it won't make any difference. So we can say that sea is a reservoir of water. Similarly, here we are talking about thermal reservoir. So it is of infinite heat capacity. Okay. So source is also a thermal reservoir, but it is higher temperature and it gives heat to the device or system. Sink is for lower temperature, that means say atmosphere. Okay, what we will do to atmosphere? We reject any heat to the atmosphere. Even then atmosphere temperature will not change. It will change in a very long period like 40-50 years. Otherwise there is no instant temperature increase. Say suppose we release some heat through factories and all, right? We will enormous amount of heat through factories and all. Even then atmosphere temperature will not change. That is known as sink. It will absorb whatever the heat given or rejected to the sink. And also source is similar to that, like sun. Even though it gives lots and lots of heat, the temperature will not change. These three terms you should understand first to understand these statements. Okay, and also here device means it may be a engine, that means it may produce work, or a refrigerator. You know refrigerator which you have seen in your homes. Refrigerator means it is also a device, but it consumes work. That means you have to give work through electricity. Okay, these terms are important for understanding the second law of thermodynamics. Now we will go to the second law of thermodynamics. So first we will try to understand the statement. So these statements refer to whatever impossible, it will tell you about that. So it is impossible to construct a device that operates in a cycle and produce no effect other than to receive heat from a single reservoir and convert it equivalent amount of work. So here what he is saying is, there is a reservoir and you are taking heat from the reservoir, okay, and there is a device which converts this heat into work. That means whatever, say if it takes 100 kilojoules of work, it is producing 100 kilojoules of work. Okay, he is saying this is not possible. That means only some part of the heat can be converted into work and remaining should be rejected to the sink. Okay, like atmosphere, some part should be rejected and some part may be converted to work. That is what, okay. So in other terms it can be written as, it is impossible to construct a device with 100% efficiency. So why he is saying 100% efficiency? So for this device, if you write the efficiency, it is work by output by input. Output is work, input is heat. So these two are equal means it is 100% efficiency, which is not possible according to Kelvin's Planck statement. Okay. First try to understand this statement and then by heart it. So it is a statement, so you have to write as it is. Okay. So finally you can say that Kelvin's Planck statement states that it is impossible to construct a device with 100% efficiency in simple terms, or it is impossible to construct a device that operates in a cycle and produce no effect other than to receive heat from a single reservoir and to convert it into equivalent amount of work. This is not possible. Contrary to that, from this equation, this statement, we can discuss what is a heat engine. So as the name refers, it converts heat into work, or in other terms, thermal energy into mechanical energy. Thermal energy into mechanical energy. So from this we can say that there is a reservoir, or we can say source at higher temperature. It gives some heat to the device. So device will be drawn in a circle to understand that it is following a cycle. Okay. So device, it will give you work, but it has to reject some heat to the sink. This cannot be 0. If it is 0, Q1 is equal to W. That means whatever the heat is taking by the device is converted to work. According to first law, this is possible. First law says that heat and work are mutually convertible. What second law is saying that it is not equal. It is possible to convert, but it is not possible. Some part should be rejected. Okay. From Clausius Kelvin Planck statement, you have to understand that it is not possible to construct 100% efficient engine. We go to second part of the second law, which is called as Clausius statement. Okay, Clausius statement says that heat cannot flow from a body at lower temperature to a body at higher temperature without any aid of external energy. We know this part. Heat always flows from a higher temperature body to lower temperature body. So without any aid, so that means if you give any aid, heat will be transferring from lower temperature to higher temperature body. So from this statement we will get a refrigerator. So we have seen refrigerator. From refrigerator you will get power to the, we will give power to the refrigerator. So what refrigerator does is it will cool the space inside the refrigerator by rejecting heat to the atmosphere. So if you see the refrigerator backside, there will be a wire mesh which rejects heat to the atmosphere. So say suppose this is at say -5 degrees centigrade. Even then it will maintain this temperature by rejecting heat out of the system. That means heat is transferring from lower temperature, but generally outside temperature will be around 30 degrees centigrade. So it is transferring heat from a lower temperature body to a higher temperature body by taking work input. This electric energy is converted to mechanical energy using a motor. Okay, so from this we can define a refrigerator. So this is a higher temperature body. So this is the device which is a refrigerator in this case. So it will take some work. And it will supply heat from a lower temperature body to a higher temperature body. Okay, so this is Q2, say this is Q1. This is not possible, that is why we are giving work to make it possible. Okay, so from class A statement we can define what is a refrigerator. These two are parts of second law of thermodynamics. Okay, now we will see what is a heat engine, what is a refrigerator, and what is a heat pump. These three are defined from second law of thermodynamics, and these three are the basis for thermal engineering. That means whatever the device we have designed should follow these basic rules: heat engine, refrigerator, and heat pump. So first you will take heat engine. So as the name indicates, it is a device which converts thermal energy into mechanical energy. Thermal energy means by taking heat it will produce work. Okay, so this is a higher temperature reservoir which is called as source at temperature T1. It will give heat. Even though it gives heat, the temperature will not decrease. That is the property of a reservoir. That is here source. Source will give the temperature. It will give the heat, and an engine defined by letter E undergoing a cyclic process. So this is a cyclic process. Okay, it will convert this heat into work. We will get whatever the required mechanical energy from this engine, but also it will reject some heat to lower temperature body, sink. So this is not required generally because it is open to atmosphere. So it will take temperature from the heat from the source, and converts some part of the energy into work and rejects the remaining part to the sink. If you remember first law of thermodynamics, TD for cyclic process. So this engine is undergoing a cyclic process. So for cycle we are saying that cyclic integral of Q is equal to cyclic integral of W. Sum of Q is equal to sum of W. So here only one work is there. So W we will write. Here there are two heats. One is coming into the system and getting out of the system. This is positive because it is getting into the system. This is negative. It is going out of the system. So Q1 minus Q2 is equal to W. This is the first law equation. So coming to the efficiency. So efficiency is output by input. So what is the required output here? Required output is work and given input is Q1. So efficiency of a heat engine is equal to W by Q1. Heat supplied to the system and work coming from the system. This is how a heat engine is defined. Okay. Next we will go to a refrigerator. Next we will go to refrigerator. And refrigerator and pump are similar, but only small part will be different. So refrigerator is a device which transfers heat from lower temperature body to higher temperature body. That means, so there is a space, or say this is the source or reservoir. Okay, you have to supply heat to this. Okay, this is higher temperature body. You have to supply heat to this. Sorry, you have to reject heat to this. So in a refrigerator there will be a confined space. This is the space where temperature will be lower, like a refrigerator box. In the box inside you have to maintain the temperature below atmospheric. This is atmosphere and this is the refrigerator inside refrigerator. So here what happens is heat is transferring from inside refrigerator to atmosphere, which is at a higher temperature. This is at lower temperature. Okay, so you have to give work. Okay. Here work is negative. This is negative, this is positive, this is also negative. So from first law you can say that Q2 minus Q1 is equal to minus W, or W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. For a refrigerator, we won't calculate efficiency. We will calculate coefficient of performance, COP, which means coefficient of performance. So why we are calculating COP instead of efficiency is, here the output is Q2, right? The input is W. Generally Q2 will be greater than W and the efficiency will be greater than 100%. But you can't calculate efficiency here. As you know, heat engine, say suppose there is 100 kilojoules of heat, you can convert work up to only some extent, like 60 kilojoules maximum. This is maximum you can get is something like this, 60 kilojoules work. From Kelvin's Planck statement, you can never convert 100 kilojoules of heat into work. That means some part of the heat is wasted. That means, so here what happens is, this is a low grade energy. Heat is always a low grade energy, whereas work is high grade energy. Because this work can be transferred to heat easily with almost 95% efficiency. Simple. Let us say, suppose you are converting 100 kilojoules of heat into 60 kilojoules of work. This can be converted to electrical energy using a generator. This electrical energy is used to heater. What is the purpose of heater? It converts electrical energy into heat. This is also 95% efficient. That means most of the work, this 60 can be converted to almost 50 kilojoules of heat. If high efficiency materials are used, you can convert almost 60 kilojoules of. So that is why work is a high grade energy, whereas heat is a low grade energy. You can't compare these two in the name of efficiency. So here Q2 is a low grade energy, whereas work is a high grade energy, and that is why low grade energy will be higher than work. So COP is equal to desired effect by work input. So here desired effect is Q2, work input is W. Okay, or W equal to Q1 minus Q2, Q2 by Q1 minus Q2. This is the formula for COP of a refrigerator. Now we will see heat pump. Heat pump is similar to the refrigerator. Heat pump is similar to refrigerator, only the function is different. So in cold countries, generally the temperature, so this is a house in which humans are there. Okay, in general humans require around 25 degrees centigrade temperature to survive, whereas in cold countries the outside temperature will be minus 5 degrees or minus 15, minus 20 degrees, like that, like in Canada. Okay, here the outside temperature is very low, whereas we have to survive at this temperature. So that is why heat pump comes into picture. What heat pumps does is, it pumps heat from atmosphere to inside. But what we are saying, heat cannot flow from a lower temperature body to higher temperature body. We are making it happen by using heat pump, by using external aid. We can do it by using a external aid according to Clausius state. Okay, now we will see what is heat pump in a block diagram. So this is higher temperature body, T high. So we are supplying heat to this by heat pump. This is outside. Low. We have to supply work. So by using this external aid, we are transferring heat from a lower temperature body to a
higher temperature. Generally, if it is atmosphere, we will open this. Okay, we only draw 3 lines like this. If it is a closed space, we will close this. Even in refrigerator also, here, so because higher temperature is outside, you can open this like this. So it is atmosphere. This is refrigerated space. Okay, refrigerated space, which is a refrigerator. Here in heat pump, outside is cold body, and inside this is the house we have to heat. This is a closed body. Okay. Similarly, if you write the COP of a heat pump, it will be output is Q1, input is W, or Q1 by, so similarly, getting out of the system is negative Q1, this is positive, work is also negative, W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. So W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. So if you rewrite this like this, so I am adding removing Q2 and adding again Q2 like this. So here Q2 cancels out, and it is equal, right? So if you take this separately, Q1 minus Q2 by Q1 minus Q2 plus Q2 by Q1 minus Q2. Okay, so this will be 1 plus Q2 by Q1 minus Q2, which is equal to 1 plus COP of refrigerator. So if you operate a heat pump under same conditions as a refrigerator, generally COP of heat pump will be equal to 1 plus COP of refrigerator. Okay, this is the relation between these two. In the next class, we will again discuss about this, and we will do problems related to this chapter.